Okay, so the next video that I'm going to do has to do a little bit with a very sensitive, touchy subject that is likely to create some comments that people probably aren't going to be all too thrilled with. But it's about cleaning and or preserving some of the coins. Since I collect only Lincoln cents, the coins that I am going to work on here are just simply Lincoln cents and not anything else. I don't know how to clean and or preserve silver coins or nickels or anything like that. So any questions or comments about those, I'm not going to be able to help you. When it comes to cleaning Lincoln cents, there's a couple of real simple basics. First of all, cleaning a BU or an uncirculated coin is definitely not a good idea. Obviously, most of the BU coins are uncirculated and will look perfectly fine the way that they are. If you're attempting to get some dust or dirt off of them, that's one thing. There's a couple of things you can do with that. I'll cover that in another video. But the video that I'm going to do today strictly covers cleaning of circulated cents. As you can see in front of me, I have a whole bunch of things, including a whole bunch of rolls of coins that I need to get out of my way. And I'm going to explain what all of this is so that in case you guys want to do this, you're welcome to. The one thing I definitely will always expressly say is under no circumstances should you ever clean a coin that has a high dollar value to it. If all you're trying to do is clean up some coins to go in your book or in a folder or something like that, or to make them look a little better, that's completely one thing, and that's what this video is directed towards. You should never attempt to clean a coin that has any high numismatic value to it whatsoever. So that's my disclaimer right there, and I'm sticking to it. What I have in front of me are a bunch of coins that have some problems, some corrosion, some issues, and I'll explain each one of those in a minute. Some of what I use to clean my coins with, very simply put, I use an old hand towel that's a terry cloth type towel. I do have a glove in case I need it for whatever the reason. I don't necessarily use them. I have a couple of glass bowls rather than plastic ones to put some of the stuff that I use to clean things in with, because obviously plastic can be eaten away by a few things. And some of the stuff that I use to clean my coins with are, very simply put, Goo Gone. It's fantastic for removing anything sticky from the standpoint of old tape residue and stuff like that. Straight acetone, and the reason why you use straight acetone, believe it or not, it will not leave a residue on the coin, and it's great for taking things off, like whether it be residue from tape or even shellac. Believe it or not, people shellac coins, and I have a couple of examples of that right here. I also have a thing of nail polish remover, and nail polish remover is basically watered down acetone. It's a 50-50 mixture of acetone and water, and two different types of oils. The reason for the two, extra virgin olive oil is great, and it will do the trick just fine for what I'm going to use it for. There's also avocado oil, and avocado oil is basically a much more expensive version of olive oil, and it has a few properties to it that are just a little nicer. This little bottle here is probably somewhere in the neighborhood of about 15 bucks, and this big bottle of virgin olive oil is probably only about 7. So big difference in price. I also have Q-tips, regular good old-fashioned Q-tip brand Q-tips, which are better than the generic ones if you're going to use them, just because they tend to wrap the head of the Q-tip a little bit tighter than your generic versions of them. And these are, excuse my clearing of my throat, I'm starting to not feel good. So these are a couple of these things here that we have here. These are basically a Q-tip kind of a thing. They have a relatively soft head to them, but you can find them in your model airplane department or in a model airplane store, even a Hobby Lobby or something like that. If you get a chance to see what they are here, I'll try and make sure that I get the video up so that you can see them, but they have a very sharp point to them, and they're intended to basically be a soft thing that you can use to get a little bit of some of the sticky stuff out of some of the grooves of the coin and things like that. You should never ever dig at the coin in terms of anything, because you will rub through and then you'll cause a shiny spot or even go through to the bare metal from that standpoint. So with that being said, I put acetone in one of these, and I'm going to use the avocado oil actually in the other one, and I'm just simply going to pour a little bit of avocado oil. You don't need much because you aren't going to use much. And then this particular towel that I have here is the towel that I'm going to use to do my work on, but when it comes to cleaning the coins or actually wiping them off, I'm going to use a second towel, and I just basically take that towel and I either lay it off to the side like this, or I put it on my lap so that I can put the coins on the towel in my lap. I'll lay it here so everybody can see how I'm doing this. I have several rolls of circulated coins. I also have a little jar full of coins that I've pulled that have what I would call problems or concerns to them. And so from that standpoint, I've pulled a few of these, and I'll try and explain some of this to everybody. This one, if everybody, I'll zoom in a little bit more here so people can see a little bit more about what it is that I've got. This coin here is pretty common. It has a very red tone to it. Basically, it looks almost like a paint to a certain degree. And everybody's probably seen one of these in their wheat collection from that standpoint. This is an interesting one. This is basically what happens when somebody decides they want to shellac a coin, and you can see the shine that's on it. Some people will say, oh, look, I found a proof coin. It's not actually proof. It's actually somebody that has tried to preserve their coin by shellacking it over the course of time. So it makes the coin stay nice and pretty and colorful in terms of its red color, but it obviously also destroys the value of the coin. So there's actually a way of getting that off so that you can get back to the regular coin itself. The coin is obviously still no longer worth any numismatic value whatsoever. So even if you take it off, it is not going to do any good from the standpoint of improving its quality or improving its value. Some of the other things, just regular spots, and I'm going to show you that some of this stuff, no matter what you do, you can't get off, and that's kind of the purpose for some of these coins. I'm not going to be able to actually clean all of these. Real dark coins from that standpoint with a little bit of green on them. You know, some of your coins that are AU coins that are really close to being uncirculated, that still have some a little bit of red in the fields and stuff like that, you can actually make look significantly better. So I'll show you how to do that. And then this is one that has actually a little bit of tape residue on one side of it, if you can see. Only on one half of it there is a little bit of tape residue. So we're actually going to take that off. The back of the coin is just simply a little bit of green. We'll try and see what we can do with that. Again, another one with a little bit of tape residue so that people can see that. And again, this one here is also one that has just a little bit of discoloration to it. It actually looks like it has some BU color to it, but again, we'll try and play with some of these and see what we can do. None of these obviously I've worked on before, so some of them I may get lucky with and they may clean up nice, and other ones I may wind up looking at and going, yeah, we gotta just scrap that one. So I'm gonna start, see what we can do. First one I'm going to start with, believe it or not, is actually the shellacked coin, because that's probably going to be the most interesting for a lot of people to see. And I simply just take a regular Q-tip, get it in the straight acetone, and we'll see if this will take it off. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't, but we're going to find out here in just a second. So basically, if all I do, rub that on the coin itself, and you always rub lightly, and if you have to rub, you try and rub in a circle, so that you're always going with what we call the cartwheel of the coin, or the circular motion of the coin. And it may not necessarily look like it, but believe it or not, I'm going to put my glasses on here. The shellac has come off. If you can look at the actual Q-tip, you'll see that it's actually yellow, which means that the shellac itself has actually come off of the coin on this particular side. So the acetone has done its job from that standpoint. It still looks very wet, and as soon as it dries in a second or two, you'll notice that we're getting back to a normal color. Now it also has a haze to it from that standpoint. It has a little bit of a, because of the shellac and the reaction with the chemicals in the acetone, it has a little bit of a haze that has formed over the top of the coin. So in order to try and rectify that, I'm actually going to use a little bit of the avocado oil here, put that on the other thing, and I'm going to go back over this coin with the avocado oil. And so now that I have the oil on it, the interesting part about it is, great, so now it's all oiled up, what am I going to do? Well, that's where the other one of these towels comes in. You simply just take the coin from that standpoint and it goes into the towel, and you never ever rub hard on a coin. You simply just kind of blot it dry if at all possible, especially if it's a coin that has some color to it still. You try and just simply blot it dry. Let's see how we do here. Yeah, so there we go. Believe it or not, the avocado oil has taken the shellac, or the acetone has taken the shellac off, and the avocado oil has put a little bit of a color back to it. And you can definitely tell by, if I flip it over to the other side, some of the acetone actually got onto the back side of the coin, and you can see the white on the one portion of it there. But the acetone is definitely still there, where it is no longer on this portion of the coin, but it actually has a really nice glow to it. This one happens to be 1935D, which is unfortunate because it's a difficult year actually to find. So let's work with that and keep going forward. This is also a little bit of tape residue, but on a much older coin. So I'm going to try the same thing with the acetone and see if we can take some of this tape residue off this much older coin and see what we get. Let's see how we do with this one. Hopefully it'll do the same thing. Yeah, it's as you can tell, the Q-tip is actually turning colors from some of the other underlying problems in the green that's currently on the coin itself. This happens to be a 1929D, it looks to be. So, okay, so I've done this, and I've taken as much off here as I can, and you'll notice that I no longer have a shiny haft to my Lincoln cent. So it's taken that right off of the coin. It actually hasn't done anything else to the coin. Yeah, I am starting to get a little bit of a white residue to it, but again, I can also take the olive oil or avocado oil and go back over the coin to help alleviate some of that reaction. And once I do that, I can do the same thing here with this. With the older coins and stuff like that have already been worn, you probably aren't going to do too much more damage to them by rubbing just a little bit to do things. And by doing that, I'm now back to a coin that actually doesn't have any residue to it, doesn't have any tape sticky on it, and I can actually maybe put it in a book if that's just a filler coin or something like that that I would want to do. So those are two coins. So now I'm going to work with a coin that actually is, let's see if I can find one here. Let's take this. So this one is a 1929D also, and this coin is very common from the standpoint of it's actually in really good shape, both sides. This one actually has a little bit of tape residue on the back from something, but the coin itself is actually in halfway decent shape on the obverse. It just happens to be a little dusty from regular coin dust inside a bag, or if somebody's searching an old bag of coins. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to take a Q-tip and I'm just going to put it in the avocado oil. I'm not going to put any acetone on it at all, and all I'm going to do is try and make this coin look a little nicer than what it does and take some of that dust off of the coin. So you'll notice that I'm not putting a lot of pressure on it. I'm just going around the coin, trying to get a little bit into the grooves, see what kind of a dust we can get off of it and make it look a little bit better. And the other interesting part about it is you don't have to rub very hard, but you should continue to rub for a little while to see what all you can get off of it or out of the grooves from that standpoint. I'm only going to do the obverse on this one because everybody's seen me take the sticky stuff off the reverse of the other coin, or the obverse of the other coin. But you'll notice that now that I've done that, just taking a minute or two to do that, all I'm going to do is put it into the towel, rub it a little bit, lightly, nothing hard from that standpoint. And now I have a coin that actually has a significantly nicer glow to it. It has a nicer look to it. It has a really nice chocolate color to it. So again, not something you want to do with a high value coin, but it is something that you can definitely do with a nice circulated coin if you just want a coin that has a little nicer glow to it. Interesting thing is, most coin dealers that you go to will tell you that olive oil is perfectly safe to use on circulated cents like this. I do know a couple that also use it on nickels as well from time to time. I do not know about silver, but I can tell you that it definitely makes the coin look much nicer. All right, with that being said, I'm going to, where are we at here? We're at 16 minutes on our video, so I'm going to call it quits for right now. And I'll come back and do a second half of this with some of these other coins that I still have sitting here, and we'll see how we do. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching, and hopefully you'll tune in again.